you're considering getting a hamster for yourself, or maybe you're considering getting a hamster for your kids or family. But is a hamster going to be the right pet for you, and are they going to suit your lifestyle? Number 1, can you afford a hamster? A lot of people think because hamsters are sold so cheaply in the pet store that they assume that they are going to be a very cheap pet to own, and this couldn't be farther from the truth. That starter kit cage that you see in the pet store that comes with everything that a hamster needs and it's under $50 is not going to be suitable for a hamster. Once we add up all of the basic needs of a hamster, as well as things to keep them happy and to thrive, the overall startup cost of a hamster can come to around $500. Not to mention that if your hamster falls ill, you are going to have to see your local exotic vet for treatment, and this can range from anywhere from $50 up to $100 just for an exam. Hamsters, like the majority of living beings, are going to have continuous costs throughout their life. So when you buy all of the supplies your hamster needs from the beginning, you are still going to have to pay for other things like continuous bedding, food, chews, toys. You may even have to spend money on upgrading supplies that you have in case they break, or maybe they turn out to not be safe. Number 2, do you have space for a large enclosure? Companies and brands have marketed hamsters as these really convenient, easy to own pets that can fit into any sized home because all you need is this really tiny enclosure, when this is not true. Surprisingly, this small, tiny animal does need a lot of space. This is because in order to have a happy and thriving hamster, you're going to have to stimulate their brains and keep them enriched. And to enrich them, you have to provide them with enrichment. And to give them enrichment, you have to have quite a bit of space, because the smaller the enclosure, the less enrichment you are able to provide. And that is going to equal an unhappy and bored and stressed hamster. So if your home is too small, or you're just not capable of finding the space to be able to fit a hamster into your home, I would not suggest getting a hamster. If you're interested in learning all about hamster cages, I have a complete video dedicated to that, and I will leave that in the description bar. Number 3, do you have a bedtime, or do you tend to go to bed early? Hamsters are nocturnal/crepuscular animals. This means they are mainly going to be active during the nighttime. This can be anywhere from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. when your hamster typically is going to wake up. So for a lot of people and a lot of kids, they may not be able to interact with their hamster because maybe you just are not capable of staying awake that long to wait for them to come out and play. You also should not purposely wake your hamster during the day just so that you can play with them, or try to train them to match your own sleep schedule. If you want a pet that matches your sleep schedule, you should get one that matches your sleep schedule. Though, if you're somebody who struggles with insomnia, or maybe you work or go to school during the night and you come home and you're going to be kind of awake during the night periods, a hamster is probably going to make a pretty good pet for you. Number 4, are you a light sleeper? Because hamsters are mainly active during the night, this is when they're of course going to be the loudest. One would assume that an animal so small would not be possible of making so much noise, but it very much is possible. Whether it be the hamster's wheel is squeaky, or they decide to put some food in their wheel and then run in it, or they are just chewing on things, they can make a lot of noise. And if you're somebody who is a light sleeper, having a hamster in your room may not be great. Keep in mind, you should never remove your hamster's wheel. If you are struggling sleeping because of the hamster running on its wheel, you need to figure out a different solution, whether that be adding some oil to the bearings of the wheel or getting a new silenter wheel. Number 5, hamsters have short lifespans. Unfortunately, like the majority of rodents out there, hamsters do not have very long lifespans, and on average, they can live 1.5 to 2 years, and sometimes reaching up to 4 years. Hamster lifespans keep getting shorter and shorter due to unethical mass breedings done by pet mills who supply stores like Petco, PetSmart, and Pets at Home. Because they're so mass bred, their health is not considered, their temperament isn't considered, their genetics are not considered. So these hamsters often have a lot of health conditions that you may not even physically see. Something like heart disease that could cause your hamster to pass away one day and you don't understand why. So you're not going to be able to get to spend that same amount of time as you would a cat or dog. And for some people, dealing with death can be very, very hard and traumatic on their mental health. So it may not be best to get a hamster. Though at the same time, sometimes having a pet that has a shorter lifespan can help you understand grieving and death a little bit better. Number 6, hamsters can be unpredictable. Unlike a dog who typically will give you behavioral signs that they are going to bite you, a hamster typically doesn't always show those signs and can bite you out of the blue. This isn't me trying to say that hamsters are aggressive in any way. For example, my very tame and human-friendly hamster Mabel bit me the other day simply because she was trying to lift up her playpen and I went to put my hand there and she decided to latch on to my finger because she was not happy that I was trying to stop her from lifting the playpen. This may be something to consider depending on who is going to be owning the hamster, whether it be a young child who may not understand when to interact with a hamster or when to not stick their hand in a hamster's face because it may result in a bite. Number 7, hamsters can be hard to please. This is something I myself and many others in the hamster community have experienced, and it is very stressful at times. Because like we talked about earlier, hamsters need really, really large enclosures so that we're able to provide them with enrichment to keep them stimulated. But even then, sometimes that may not be enough for the hamster. You may need to upgrade the enclosure. You may need to switch around the toys or the different enrichment that you're providing. And sometimes this just may not be enough. And this can be very stressful on the hamster and the owner, especially if you're somebody who is not capable of upgrading your enclosure or providing more enrichment for them. This may result in just you being super stressed out and regretting getting a hamster to begin with. And number 8, hamsters don't always want to interact with humans. I find a lot of people want to get hamsters after they see a hamster on Instagram or maybe even YouTube and they are interacting with the owner or they're cuddling with the owner. And that influences somebody to want to go out and get a hamster that's going to be exactly like that hamster, when this typically isn't going to be the case. Hamsters are all going to be different. They all have their own little personalities, and a majority of hamsters are not going to be cuddly animals. They are usually very hyper and fast, and they like to be moving all the time. Sometimes they will sit still, or sometimes you will get a hamster who bonds with you really well and they want to cuddle with you, but this isn't always the case. So if you're looking for a pet who is going to want to hang out with you and just snuggle with you all the time, a hamster may not be that pet. In fact, there are many hamsters out there who do not like human interaction at all and would prefer to just be left alone and not touched, and you can just watch them and regularly take care of them, like giving them food and water and cleaning their enclosure. Hopefully this video has given you some things to think about before going out and actually getting a hamster and then possibly regretting it or having to rehome it later in life. And don't get me wrong, hamsters can make amazing pets. That is why I own 3 of them myself. But they don't make amazing pets for everybody, and that certainly is okay. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!